Hello and welcome in, race fans, to tonight's event under the lights here in Richmond, Virginia. The Cyber Thunder Racing League returns for round 19 of the season. We are in the middle of our playoff run, in the middle of our Scrambler Series, and tonight we will part ways with one more championship contender by the time the dust settles. Joining me alongside, as per usual, is my co-host, Tom Richter. How's it going tonight, Tom?
It is going wonderful. Good evening, Arie, and happy Tuesday to you. Happy Tuesday to all the race fans out here on the Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network as we get set to go racing for the third Scrambler Series race. We've seen Atlanta Motor Speedway. We've seen Kentucky Speedway. Tonight, we see the first short track of the Scrambler Series. Arie, I know a lot of drivers have this one circled as one to watch.
That they do, and I think tonight is going to be the biggest chance of an upset that we have had so far in the Scrambler Series. Given we are short track racing, we're at Richmond. This is a track that is known for catching drivers out, specifically out of turn 2. You can get real loose off of the corner. That wall can come out and bite you, and you never know what's going to happen. All it takes at a track like Richmond, Tom, is bending in just one quarter panel anywhere around the car, and all of a sudden the handling is gone.
It really does, and we don't think of Richmond as kind of like a handling track in a lot of ways, but it's very aero-sensitive. If you crumple up that front fender, you're going to feel it because you're going to start to put some more wheel into it and start to wear out that right front fender as drivers begin to make their finishing laps in practice out here. One of our Scrambler Series drivers on screen right now, that is Mr. Anderson. He is ready to get rolling out here tonight.
That he is, and one of the drivers who narrowly scraped through last week in Kentucky. We, of course, had a double elimination, had to say goodbye to 2 contenders. By the time it was over, those 2 that dropped out of the hunt were Tanner Marr and Lee Campbell, but not before a hard-fought event. The 43, Eric Anderson right here, he was below the cut for chunks of the race, as was the 20 of Mike Syverson for a little bit. And even towards the end, we saw a surprising name, I think, in Ed Jurgen get really close to going under the cut.
We really did, and you know, unfortunate turn of events for Tanner Marr last week, and you got to start to wonder if Tanner didn't have that moment there, who may have been the ones eliminated. As Tanner's out here tonight, currently, where is Tanner?
P14.
P14. You know what? I was looking for him on the playoff running order, but he was eliminated last week, so that's why he's not up there. But 14th out here tonight for the race sponsor, Tanner Marr.
Absolutely, and yet again, I mean, this is a trend that we're starting to see here in the Scrambler Series, and I think it's a really cool little indicator. You look at the board, you look at, you know, where are our championship contenders? Well, they are all up front. Literally clean sweep of the top 6 positions in practice here on times. And then you've got a couple of names being sprinkled in there. Jason Raymond, known short track racer, up there in 7th, not a part of the playoffs. And then you've got a couple others. You've got Holmes and Jurgen in the top 10. And the only outlier is Mike Syverson down in the teens, but Mike hasn't been able to be here for the whole practice session, arriving a little bit late. So he'll be behind the 8 ball.
He is. Mike shows up a little bit late here to Richmond Raceway, but makes the cutoff nonetheless. And drivers have just under a minute out here remaining in practice. Arie, I guess I'll ask you the tough question of the night. Who gets eliminated?
Well, I tell you what, I have had some theories, and I posted them in the Discord over the course of this week. If we go based on the points, it should be Eric Anderson in the 43. If we go based off of my power rankings, it should be Gary Bowman in the 8. However, if we go off of the fully at random chance of a wheel spin, it's Cody Gibson of all people. So you know what? Honestly, I can't tell you, Tom.
You know, the funniest part about that is Cody Gibson thought he won something when you did that wheel spin in our Discord.
Oh, he sure did.
Yeah, he got excited when he saw his name up there on the wheel, but didn't realize that was the wheel spin of doom for predictions of eliminations out here. We're going to find out together in 200 laps at Richmond Raceway for the Richmond Wrangle 200 out here tonight as checkered flag falls out over practice session. Cody Gibson, Greg Mitchell, Gary Bowman, top 3 in opening practice.
Top 3 and Gary Bowman, very, very intent in practice to get as much time in as he can. 133 laps, tied with Lee Campbell for most in that session.
Waiting to see who lights up first down here on pit road. Will it be a playoff driver or will it be another contender trying to show that they deserve to be up there. Looks like our first driver to highlight is going to be Mr. Gibson out here himself.
Still rocking that Christmas paint scheme. Can't hate it though. I did make it after all. But here we go down into turn 3 for driver number 1. Top of the board in practice. He was the first driver to load into the practice session today. Wanted to be here for every last second. And that's been a trend I've noticed out of Cody all of this season for the most part, Tom. Really ever since he kind of found his rhythm, found his pace. It's not just speed, but it's determination. He is the first one in every week.
Yeah, Cody Gibson comes out here, won the last 2 races at Atlanta Motor Speedway and Kentucky Speedway last week. But Arie, I gotta think in the back of my mind, if there's a track that things could flip upside down for the one truck, it's gotta be here tonight at Richmond.
Oh, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. He's going to have to be careful. He's got the speed. We've seen it in practice, and so far he's provisionally on pole at the moment, looking to complete his second lap right here. But you never know, 200 laps at Richmond, and we've seen a lot of chaos unfold previously. He's going to get sideways across the line. That lap will count, and Gibson is still top of the board. Matt Semple P2 at the moment.
2 laps done and away for Cody Gibson, currently top of the speed charts. Matt Semple, Ed Jurgen, the top 3. One of our championship contenders, Andrew Caldwell, is going to begin his first time lap here on the exit of turn number 4. Andrew's another one of those had quiet runs and competitive runs the first 2 races.
That he has, as we see Rick Thompson jump up to P4 on the board. Caldwell has been very quietly doing a very good job in the first couple of races here in the Scrambler Series. I think in another timeline, he could have won either of those races. He was putting on that good of a performance.
He could have won both of them if things went his way, but that was not the case. First time by for that Toyota Tundra is 9th for Andrew. See if he's able to pick up. He is just a little bit off of the leader. Got about 3/10 to gain if he wants to take the pole away.
Got Dustin Ping jumping up in the top 5, and Philip Van Vliet up to 7th. Greg Mitchell's going to be on the second row with that time. Caldwell across the line for the second go-around. That's going to be P6 for the 46.
Another Scrambler Series driver, Brad Holmes, he has completed his first lap, is good enough for 9th, so inside the top 10 tentatively, as that's not going to improve his second lap there. Got a little loose there in turns 1 and 2, and decided he wanted to go to a backup truck out here tonight. So Tanner Marr is completing his second lap, 7th first time. Looks like it's going to be 7th second time as well for Tanner.
Just eliminated out of the Scrambler Series last week. Tanner looks to hit the ground running again this week, if not for any reason more than to make it back on the power rankings. I know how much Tanner cares about being in that top 10 as Lee Campbell wraps up his qualifying effort as well. It's going to be P9 for that Ford F-150.
A couple of drivers did not take a qualifying time out here. David Gainford, Stephen Music, Andy Cork. 3 drivers electing not to take a qualifying run, at least just yet. They have about 90 seconds remaining to do so if they want to try to get a good starting spot out here. But all of the Scrambler Series drivers electing to take a time in qualifying, Arie.
And I tell you what, one thing that I'm noticing right away is very different from the practice session. Our Scrambler Series drivers are pretty spread out throughout the field. I think you've got our consensus top 3 favorites for the championship running 1, 2, 3 on the board and qualifying here. But beyond that, it's jumbled. This isn't the Kentucky that we saw last week where they were all in a row, one after another. Now we're starting to see the Rick Thompsons, the Dustin Pings, who were eliminated earlier, Tanner Marr in the mix, Lee Campbell, drivers who are no longer in the Scrambler. Now it's all or nothing. They don't have anything to lose anymore. They got to go out there and try to get themselves a win.
Yeah, and as these drivers who get eliminated from the Scrambler Series, it comes over week over week over week. This is just going to kind of happen naturally, but you could still see Cody Gibson, Matt Semple, Greg Mitchell at the top, and then you've got one row of separation between pretty much the remainder of them. Caldwell, Jurgen, Bowman up there, Brad Holmes, Eric Anderson. So that's going to make for an interesting start here when everybody's grouped up together.
It certainly will, and I am looking forward to it. I tell you that much. You know, I just had the thought occur to me here, Tom. Do we here in this current season in the Cyber Thunder Racing League, do we have ourselves a big 3? Do you think Matt Semple needs to get at least another win for that to be the case?
I think Matt Semple is probably banging on the door of becoming a big 3. for the championship. I mean, he's got 2 wins on the season already. He's been up front, but I still think that that third spot is kind of up for grabs. I think it's kind of up for grabs between maybe the 46 and the 92 and maybe the 20 at times. So I'm not sold on it just yet, but he is certainly one to keep an eye on.
All right, I like it. Well, qualifying has wrapped, and we have advanced the session just a little bit. The sun is going to finish setting. Lights are out. Track is continuing to cool down, and we are going to get your starting lineup for tonight's event. 200 laps here at Richmond Raceway. Let's determine our running order. Officially on pole, it's going to be Cody Gibson looking to win his 3rd race in a row to start out the Scrambler Series playoffs. Joining on the front row is going to be Matt Semple in the 16 truck. Row 2 is going to consist of Greg Mitchell and Rick Thompson, who came oh so close to winning last week. The top 5 is rounded out by Dustin Ping, who was the first Scrambler Series eliminated driver. In P6, it's going to be Andrew Caldwell, Tanner Marr in 7th, Ed Jurgen in 8th, and rounding out the top 10, Lee Campbell in 9th, and Brad Holmes in 10th.
11th place is made up of Philip Van Vliet's. 12th place is Gary Bowman, one of our championship-eligible drivers. Larry Bell starts 13th out here tonight. Eric Anderson starts 14th with the top 15 rounded out by Jason Raymond. Paxton Frith comes out here once again, and he's going to roll off from 16th with Mike Stiverson on the row behind him, with Logan Spencer in 18th. Jarrett Keemely rolls off 19th with Nathan Dufton in the top 20.
21st is going to be Chris Letts, and 22nd is going to be Steven Music. Shotgun on the field, we've got Andy Cork and Dave Gainforth rounding out our field of 24.
Lights are extinguished on the iRacing.com pace car, so we expect to go green flag racing here on a quick pace lap as the field begins to roll out of pit road, and we are about ready to go.
Seems to be the case. I'd be surprised, actually, if they go green on the first lap. I would expect to, but the lights are out on the pace car, so I guess we'll find out here. Is that left-hand turn going to happen? No, it's not. We are going to get that additional lap right here. Maybe they, maybe the circuit's busted on the lights up there.
Quick little look at the stages out here tonight. Drivers are racing to lap number 58 for the first stage, and then the second stage going to be a short one, only to lap number 100, so just about 40 laps for stage number 2.
I think there's some drivers eyeing tonight as a big opportunity. We've talked about how it could result in an upset in the Scrambler, but I think equally as likely as it is for a surprise driver to be eliminated, I think we could see a surprise driver winning this race. We've seen it before here in Cyber. We had that crazy finish where Greg Mitchell was backwards across the line.
Yeah, we really could, and I think maybe Rick Thompson walks away from Kentucky Speedway last week feeling like he missed out just a little bit. Could tonight be Rick's first win in the Cyber Thunder Racing League? We're going to find out together. We got 200 laps to answer that question. Green flag is out for race number 3 of the Scrambler.
Cody Gibson's going to lead us down into turn 1, and he is clear by corner entry. The battle is on for P2, but I don't know how hard Matt Semple's going to fight that one as Greg Mitchell slots into place down the back straightaway and into turn 3.
Cody Gibson takes maybe a 1.5 truck lead over Greg Mitchell. Matt Semple stuck up on the outside with Rick Thompson, fighting early for 3rd place with Andrew Caldwell in tow.
We were talking about Rick Thompson just before the start of the race. This is Rick's favorite track, if not one of the favorite tracks of his. He's been looking forward to this one. I've seen him win here before in the Next Gen Cup Series car, so we'll see what Rick Thompson can do tonight. He's a driver that I have definitely got my eye on.
Keeping an eye on a little bit further back, we've got some battles starting to happen around the 10th place position here. You got Phil Van Vliet taking a look on the inside of Gary Bowman in that black and red number 8, the Game Genie Toyota Tundra on the outside lane. He's in front of Eric Anderson, Phil Van Vliet, and who is that? That's going to be Larry Bell directly behind them. So a couple of Scramble Series drivers. Paxton Frith slides high in 3.
We're 3 wide for just a moment there with the 49, the 05, and the 7. We might be 3 wide again down the front straightaway. Going to think better of it as everyone tucks back into line, but we are in the middle of the Hornet's Nest and back up to Gary Bowman and Lee Campbell. These are our 2 drivers racing each other right now, the 2 drivers who had the most laps completed in practice right now. They currently find themselves running 10th and 11th, slotting in, looking to find their rhythm.
Up at the front of the field, nothing has changed. Cody Gibson still over Greg Mitchell. Rick Thompson still in 3rd, taking a closer look back here at the battles out on track. Phil Van Vliet now still up underneath the 43 of Eric Anderson, and we've got Jason Raymond and Larry Bell going side by side. Paxton Frith gets a little wiggle on the exit at 2.
To the inside goes the Kool-Aid truck. Philip Van Vliet trying to work over Eric Anderson. These two have a lot of history racing each other, all respectfully. Two of our cleanest drivers out on track, I would venture to say, Tom?
Yeah, I would have to completely agree. I mean, Philip is a very difficult driver to pass.
He is.
But you do it, but he does it very respectfully. I have had my fair share of laps saying I cannot get around this 89 truck no matter what I do. But I tell you what, we never make contact in an attempt to get around.
Sounds about right to me as we watch Dustin Ping circulating in P7 at the moment. Tanner Marr just behind, going to correct a little wiggle. Looks like Gary Bowman finally going to try and make a move on Lee Campbell right here. This is a battle inside of the top 10, or for the final spot on the top 10, I should say. Just ahead is teammate Ed Jurgen in the 92. Both Bowman and Jurgen still competing for the championship.
Anderson's going to try to take a look to the outside of Gary Bowman as they come through. They're following Lee Campbell, one of the drivers eliminated from last week's race at Kentucky from the championship contention. Lee Campbell out here having a strong showing early inside the top 10.
It's a great onboard shot from the 43 of Anderson. You get a good indication as to what it's like behind the wheel here at Richmond. You can also hear all of the off-throttle time. That's going to be the biggest thing here at a track like Richmond. Even, I think, by short track standards, there's just a lot of off-throttle time here, a lot of handling that you've got to juggle, maybe more than you do think of handling at like a Bristol or a Martinsville.
Yeah, and a lot of that is because you're constantly putting wheel into it here, whereas like Bristol or Martinsville, yeah, you've got tight radiuses, but here you've got that long straightaway, and that straightaway here, Arie, is very deceiving. It's very easy to get loose on the exit of turn number 4 and kind of slide that truck the entire way down the front straightaway, which is not even really straight. You see everybody constantly on the wheel on the front stretch here.
Absolutely, and it makes turn 1 really difficult because you're coming into a tighter radius from a slightly curved radius. You're not coming in from a straight line, so you got to be very careful not to lock that left front wheel. It's so easy to do into turn 1 here at Richmond. And then you've got the whole off of turn 2 thing. You do go down a straightaway that is straight on the back of the track, and making that sharp turn. You see a lot of drivers, like even Gary right here, you take a late apex through the corner. You want to try and arc towards the straightaway pretty late through the corner. Really, it's not like anything else I can think of on the schedule.
Yeah, and you can see as they come off of turn number 4, Gary's going to have the momentum on top of Jason Raymond on the outside lane. Maybe able to get a pretty good view of what exactly you're talking about here. So he's running about the 2.5 lane up there, and then about the middle of the corner, he cuts down and kind of double apexes the corner, and that helps the car turn through the corner, but it also provides the opportunity for it to kick sideways if things go wrong.
That's absolutely right. And I kind of want to take a look at what the race leaders here are doing. I figured they might be a good indication as well. If we look from the blimp, we can actually see Greg Mitchell closing in on the back of race leader Cody Gibson. They'll be running pretty identical lines, and given that these two are setting the pace right now, this will be a good indication as to what is working the best for all of these drivers out there. I see Greg entering turn 1 a little bit lower than where Gibson is running. Gibson's got a very steady line through 1 and 2. He's just kind of, a quarter of a car length off of that line, and he just kind of holds that all the way through. Greg is taking a little bit of clean air down right onto that line and just kind of closing that gap. I wonder what would happen to the 55 if Gibson decides to shut that door.
I did notice a little bit of a wiggle out of Cody Gibson last time by on the exit of turn number 2, and you could start to see visually Greg Mitchell starting to close the gap here from Cody Gibson. He was about 4/10 just a couple of laps ago, 16 laps into tonight's race, and he is now within a quarter second.
He is knocking on the door at the moment is Greg Mitchell, and the last time I was out on track here at Richmond, it was in the Gen 4 cars, and I had nothing for Mr. Mitchell. So if that was any indication, these guys got to watch out. And I tell you what, I think Greg's probably got a little extra motivation. I mean, he's gone out there the past 2 weeks and watched Cody Gibson rattle off 2 in a row, tie the win total on the season that Greg has. They're both at 6 now, I believe, and Greg's got to be feeling the pressure just a little bit. Maybe not pressure on being eliminated from the Scrambler, but pressure that there might be a new favorite in 10.
On board with Greg Mitchell, and we're going to see how he enters down into the corner here. And you hear him off throttle, what I like about what I hear from the 55 there, Arie, is when he's committed back to the gas, there is no on-off, 80%, 90%. When he's committed to go back to it, he is back to it, and he is comfortable in that car doing what he wants it to do.
Absolutely. I think it's one of Greg's greatest strengths is just how smooth he is as a driver, and I think more specifically it's corner entry. We see it pay off a lot at road courses. Nobody can even really do anything with Greg at road courses, and a lot of that is just how consistent he is, how smooth he is with corner entry, whether it's road racing or ovals, and we can see that right here as he puts that pressure on Cody Gibson in the lead. We jump back here. We got a battle. Mike Stiverson, one of our Scrambler Series drivers, working over Larry Bell, a battle for P15.
Mike Stiverson, quick look at the Scrambler Series running order right now. Mike Stiverson takes 15th place away from Larry Bell. He sees Eric Anderson in 13th, right outside that windshield. He's got Phil Van Vliet, the buffer car, in between these two machines right now. Remember, tonight's race is a single elimination race, so just the lowest finishing driver will be eliminated from championship contention. And right now, if we ended it as they run right now, that would be Stiverson.
It would be, and we've currently got 4 of our 10 contenders outside of the top 10, which is pretty surprising to me, but it goes to show that this is going to be a situation that we'll be monitoring the entire night. It's not going to be clear until the very end who that one driver is going to be, especially if we've got a number of drivers who are struggling to stay inside of the top 10 early.
Kicking back over to the race lead, Greg Mitchell still within about a truck length difference between him and Gibson directly in front of him. Now the roles have kind of reversed here a little bit. Cody Gibson takes a little bit lower lane, where Greg Mitchell takes a little bit of a higher lane into turn number 1.
Yeah, playing around, looking for some space on track, looking for what might work versus one another. And coming off of the corner right there, one of the biggest things that these drivers are going to have to juggle is not kicking the rear end out of turn 4. To your point from earlier, when you were talking about it, Tom, it's really easy to slide the rear end down the front straightaway, really in any car that you come out here to Richmond, and it's so easy. It naturally wants to do that, given you're just constantly, sitting there with wheel input, and you got to watch out for those rear tires, because if you keep doing that too much, you're going to find it almost impossible to get off of the corner.
25 laps down, and we are caution-free through the first 25 laps of 200 out here tonight. Cody Gibson has led all 25, started on the pole, and that is where he runs. Greg Mitchell has improved a spot. Rick Thompson has improved a spot to 3rd. Matt Semple down a couple of spots from his starting order out here tonight, runs in 4th, and the top 5 is Andrew Caldwell.
I tell you what, one thing I'm noticing early on here, up 4 positions, Brad Holmes double-double. We've been talking about him a lot over the past couple of weeks since the Scrambler Series started. Brad Holmes has really taken it up a notch. We've seen an improvement in his speed, but not only that, he's keeping himself out of trouble. He's keeping that car clean. He's up there. He's leading laps. He's contending, and he's looking to make a surprise deep run here.
Yeah, he certainly could, and I think Richmond was probably... it's not easy for anybody, right? But when you think about short tracks, you think about Rick Thompson, you think about Andrew Caldwell, you think about Brad Holmes, you think about Matt Semple. So I wasn't too concerned about Brad Holmes here, but I will say I'm kind of surprised at how he ran at Atlanta and Kentucky. Next week, we've got the tricky triangle of Pocono Raceway. I think he's got some challenges coming up, but he could be a real threat.
He absolutely could, and we got a battle a little further back. Dustin Ping to the outside, Tanner Marr to the inside, a battle just behind Brad Holmes. This is for P7 on track, and Lee Campbell, driver who just got eliminated last week, looking to get back up there and let the field know that he's not going down easy. He's still going to be fighting for that race win before the season is up. Driver who's been close on a couple occasions. Down into turn 1 we go, and these two, Marr and Ping, still side by side.
These two drivers not giving it up. Tanner Marr on the inside, Dustin Ping up on the outside. 2 championship contenders eliminated earlier in the Scrambler Series. Tanner Marr on the inside, Dustin Ping up on the outside, and then they got Lee Campbell fighting for a spot up here. But waiting in the wings, you got Gary Bowman, Eric Anderson, and Ed Jurgen directly behind this little group as well. So if they don't get it figured out here, this little group of 3 is going to turn into a group of 5 or 6.
I tell you what, Tom, this is actually the 3 drivers who we have eliminated so far. If I am not mistaken, we are looking at them all in this battle right here, all inside of the top 10 tonight. So it just goes to show, with slightly different outcomes, these drivers could be looking to advance even through this round.
Yeah, Dustin Ping had some sort of issue at Atlanta. He kept coming down pit road, and then last week Tanner Marr, under the weather, was his disconnect from the race. So these drivers certainly running like they deserve to still be in the championship hunt out here, but these drivers putting on a show out here tonight as we are working lap number 32 of 200, halfway through the stage.
Halfway through the stage, just over, and continuing to go. We are working about 32 laps now across the line as the leaders go. This is the point where we should really start to see the comers and goers effect really come into play. We've been on these tires for long enough. A lot of these drivers have been in dirty air or battling other drivers enough that we're going to start to see which drivers are able to make their way up to the field on the older tires, which drivers start struggling. And we might be seeing that right now. I mean, we just saw Tanner Marr take the position away from Dustin Ping. Dustin fell continually as Tanner Marr drove away right here. So Dustin, a driver who I think historically we've seen is always stronger on the shorter runs, maybe falling back just a little bit.
Yeah, he could be. Another driver that's starting to fall back a little bit is Ed Jurgen. He started 9th out here tonight, currently runs 11th. Phil Van Vliet has lost a couple of spots. Now you got to wonder how much of that is them saving tires through the first half of the stage here, and now you start to see them maybe start to make a charge forward as Dustin Ping gets put under pressure from Gary Bowman up on the outside. But battle now for third place. Matt Semple says, hey, I want to take a third place running position away from Rick Thompson.
That he does. Stage points up for grabs all the same, and Matt Semple will know that Rick Thompson's not one of the Scrambler Series drivers, so if he can get himself ahead of that 76, he'll be looking at two of his biggest competitors.
I tell you what here, we're going to keep jumping around out here tonight, try to follow the battle for the race win, the battle for the race lead, but also the battle for the last place in the Scrambler Series. Right now, Eric Anderson not in a good spot here. He's got Mike Stiverson directly behind Phil Van Vliet here, and Eric is using the outside lane, which is allowing the 20 to start to close in.
That it is, and I'd start to get really concerned if that Kool-Aid truck can get a nose to the inside of Anderson right here. If Philip Van Vliet starts to go and make that pass, then he's got to really start thinking about the fact that Mike Stiverson is closing in with a good opportunity.
Eric Anderson up on the outside of Ed Jurgen in that Jurgen's Lawn Care Chevy Silverado up on the inside. He's got to find a spot to get down here because Mike is going to be there in the next lap or two. Especially, I mean, Eric is completely boxed in right now.
He is boxed in at the moment, and man, I almost wonder, Tom, which driver should be worried? Is it Anderson or is it Jurgen?
It's whoever wins the battle here. The other one's got to be worried. That's my scientific take on it.
Totally fair. We see Ed Jurgen have to take a little bit of an evasive maneuver right there as he gets to the inside of Bowman in the 8, and it looks like the 92 is going to win that battle as the 16 of Semple sends it in deep into turn 3. Though Rick Thompson's going to fight back on the outside, taking that momentum all the way down the front straightaway. These two battling has allowed the 46 of Andrew Caldwell to enter the fray. Driver currently running in P5, who we ride on board with. You could see that angle off of turn 2 right there that Caldwell is taking, that late apex to get that momentum all the way down the back straightaway. Just what you want to be doing.
Leaders Cody Gibson and Greg Mitchell going to have to make their way around lap traffic, who's side by side Paxton Frith and is that Larry Bell side by side in turn 1 here. This could be an opportunity for Greg.
It absolutely could be. You do not want to catch lap cars side by side. Bell gets into the wall to get out of the way, and Mitchell is going to follow Gibson through. Gibson's got to be careful. He's got a car high. That's going to hurt his exit. Mitchell gets through pretty unscathed, and after all of that, it doesn't look like either one is going to really be benefited or hurt from that one. They get through, and Greg Mitchell, he's all over the back bumper of Cody Gibson. I just don't know if he's got enough of a speed differential to actually make the pass.
Well, Greg started 3rd out here tonight, so he has been chasing him down. He had to deal with Rick Thompson and maybe Matt a little bit earlier in the goings out here. So we'll see how the restart goes, if he can start up on the front row. I think that could be key for the beginning of stage number 2, coming in about 15 laps.
It absolutely could be, and one thing that we can't forget about is the fact that speeding penalties are going to be very dangerous tonight at a short track like Richmond. We jump back to the battle for the last cutoff spot, and Mike Stiverson says, you know what, it's time to go, and Philip Van Vliet is going to be the driver in his way. He can see Eric Anderson right in front of him. That's his goal. He has to beat any one other driver in the Scrambler Series. That is all that matters tonight for really any of these drivers in the Scrambler Series, but he's going to get to the inside of Anderson going down the backstretch.
9 of the top 13 drivers, championship-eligible drivers, they're highlighted in green on the timing tower on the left-hand side next to their running order. So 9 of 13 drivers inside the top 13. And Arie, that really just kind of shows that, you know, it's a very real reason that they made the playoffs to begin with.
It absolutely is, as we see Anderson continuing to work that outside line. It almost seems like Eric is just more comfortable riding a lane or two up the track right now. He's making speed doing it. He held off Mike Stiverson. They all get around Dustin Ping right now, who had a slide on the back straightaway right there. That 81's really struggling. But now this kind of cleans up the racetrack just ahead of these two, and we can see if Mike can really get his head down and chase down that 43.
Up front, it is still Cody Gibson by about a quarter of a second over Greg Mitchell, but one of the closer battles out on track right now between the 20 and the 43, and this could be a big position here, Arie. You know, obviously we're getting a caution here in about 6 laps in the stage, but if you come down on pit road in front of that 43, it's gonna do dividends on the exit.
Oh, it absolutely will. That track position is oh so important. And speaking of track position, one thing that I'm noticing now that this battle has kind of died down a little bit is that Rick Thompson has not only lost 3rd position to Matt Semple, he's lost 4th position to Andrew Caldwell, and he is continuing to fall back. So looks like Rick Thompson's starting to struggle with the tires late in the stage here. He's going to have to regroup and figure out what he needs to do differently entering stage 2.
Now, it's going to be difficult for these drivers, whether this was done intentionally or not. The world may never know. But stage 1 is 58 laps, and that is what we're running to. Stage 2 is only about 35 or 40 laps. So these drivers are going to have to approach stage 2 a little bit differently than how they're doing it. Usually we would see stages that are pretty equal in length in terms of laps. Not tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be a very different picture in really each of the 3 sections of this race as we watch this battle right now. This battle's a little further down in the running order. P17, Nathan Dufton trying to defend from Jarrett Kimmeley in the 33 truck, driver who had a good showing last week. As it looks to me like we are closing in on the end of stage 1 as Greg Mitchell continues to try and close in on the rear bumper of Cody Gibson. But up to this point, that gap has remained pretty steady.
24 cars started, 24 still running. 2 cars 1 lap down. Paxton Frith, Larry Bell 1 lap down. Paxton Frith in the position to get the free pass here in a couple of laps, and we do see that stage caution come. Larry Bell currently runs in 24th, but Greg Mitchell has not really closed that gap anymore as we see 2 laps to go.
2 laps to go in the first stage. I saw Cody Gibson getting a little sideways off of turn 4 that last time around, using a little bit more out of those tires, but he might have just enough breathing room so long as we don't see a mistake out of that number 1 truck. I think he'll be doing just enough to keep Greg Mitchell behind. They're going to drive all the way up against the wall right there, and we are looking for the end of stage 1 shortly.
Well, you know what? I had the stage designation as the countdown there, so that has been adjusted as we have 6 laps to go in the stage now.
There we go. Love a good little correction. And while this battle continues to go on up front, a little further back, Eric Anderson putting pressure now on Ed Jurgen as he feels the pressure from Mike Stiverson in approaching just behind. We've got 4 Scrambler Series drivers in a row right here. Bowman, Jurgen, Anderson, Stiverson, all battling to stay above the cutoff.
They certainly are, and Mike Stiverson right up here. Eric Anderson takes a look to the outside of the 92. These 2 drivers, I tell you what, these 2 drivers are a lot of fun to watch on and off track. They run each other probably harder than anybody else. They just have a good little friendship going there, and they always try to beat one another. But now Mike Stiverson in that picture of this 3-car battle.
That he is, and that's another driver that's fun to watch as well. I guess I wouldn't say mid-pack field of drivers, because I think these guys have all proven that they are kind of more towards the front than that, especially nowadays. But this group of drivers who we expect to be kind of the top 10 locks every week, right? They go out there and they compete in such a fun way. They're some of the cleanest drivers out there too, and it just makes for some really fun racing, whether you're watching it or whether you're a part of it on track.
Eric Anderson still not giving up that opportunity to take a top 10 running order away from Ed Jurgen on the exit of turn number 4. They're working with Gary Bowman directly in front of him, making their way around Larry Bell, one of the lap vehicles from earlier in the race. They're all going to slide down onto the inside lane, try to make a pass here, but this is going to be an opportunity for a nose to get put somewhere, and Mike Stiverson may have an opportunity here.
May indeed. Ed Jurgen got loose off of turn 2 right there, and now we are nose to tail. 3 Scrambler Series drivers in a row. Stiverson's exit is going to be hindered by the lap down car of Larry Bell, and across the line we go. There is only 1 lap to go in stage number 1. Cody Gibson continuing to hold on ahead of Mitchell, and Anderson looks to get to the outside of Jurgen. This battle's a little too good to look away from.
Eric takes one more look here as he's going to have one more opportunity before we see the stage yellow flag come out. And he's going to get to the outside. Does he get there? No, not at the line. It is Ed Jurgen in 10th.
Ed Jurgen secures that final bonus point in the stage, and that will, of course, still affect the final standings. If those drivers don't end up winning the championship, it will affect it for everybody else. So you definitely want those stage points. We're looking at our stage 1 winner right here. Cody Gibson, Flamin' Hot Cheetos truck, looking to win his 3rd race in a row. When was the last time somebody won 3 races in a row on Tuesday night? I feel like it's been a little bit.
It probably has been a little bit, and I think you are probably the last one.
I'll fact check it.
Okay. While you fact check it, the field is going to come down onto pit road. The Scrambler Series broken up as they come down onto pit road just a little bit. You got the top 9 inside the top 12, so now we've gone from the top 13 to the top 12. Eric Anderson, Mike Stiverson, Ed Jurgen, bringing up the rear of the Scrambler Series drivers as everybody's going to come down for service. Paxton Frith going to take a free pass on the track.
Everybody bringing it down on pit lane. Looking to get service on those vehicles. Cannot afford a speeding penalty. Cannot afford sliding through the pit box. Track position, oh so important at a track like Richmond. We're going to position our camera right here and take a look at pit exit right here. That number 1 pit stall should pay dividends for Gibson. He should win that race off of pit road. And we got Mitchell, Semple, Caldwell, Thompson, and the rest. So it looked like Tanner Marr got out ahead of Brad Holmes as well. So some fun little shakeups right there. And maybe most importantly here, Tom, Mike Stiverson gets off of pit road ahead of Eric Anderson.
He does, yeah. He comes out in front of the 43 and directly behind the 92. So a little bit of gumbo shaking up the Scrambler Series here early in stage number 1. Stage number 2 only going to be about 40 laps.
Sounds about right to me. Okay, I have fact-checked the information. The last time a driver won 3 races in a row in the Tuesday Night Thunder Truck Series was at the tail end of the 2024-2 season. It was the final 3 races for that year's championship, and it was yours truly. That was the last time we had 3 in a row. Cody Gibson looking to do it for the first time in pretty much 1 calendar year. That would have lined up to be about 1 calendar year ago.
What were those 3 tracks, Arie?
Oh, let's see. You caught me right as I closed it. 3. I tell you what, that was a really fun championship, rattling off 3 in a row. That was the first season we had Greg Mitchell in here. Greg and I were battling all year. That was kind of my introduction to, hey, Greg's here for real. The 3 tracks were Homestead, Martinsville, Phoenix. Oh
yes, I remember Phoenix because that I think you were on new tires, Greg was on old tires. It was a lot of fun to watch from a lap down, from my point of view. So we'll see if Cody Gibson can make history out here tonight and bring that record back up to date here with 3 wins in a row. But we've got a long way to go to get that answer. Greg Mitchell up on the outside, Cody Gibson on the inside, the control car into the restart zone we go, and everybody's on their way.
Onto the loud pedal, pretty much still in the middle of turn 4 right there. It comes up on you so early as Cody Gibson leads us down into turn 1. We have gotten near 3-wide action as Tanner Marr is up into the marbles through 1 and 2. He's going to recover nicely right there as we see Ed Jurgen into the wall a little further back.
These drivers trying to get the good while they can. See Gary Bowman inside the mix as well. Lee Campbell runs up inside the top 10 as they run right now. He's going to slide back just a little bit, but These drivers all trying to get any spots while they're able to before everybody gets spread out and tire burst starts becoming an issue.
Seeing a lot of close calls here on the restart, and we take a look at the cutoff battle at the moment. Look at Mike Stiverson go since the restart, Tom. He is now in P9, nailing the restart here. He's ahead of 2 of our contenders in Ed Jurgen and Eric Anderson.
Ed Jurgen says, I do not want to put myself in this spot, and he's going to take a look on the inside of the 60 of Lee Campbell, and behind the 89. He's going to think about a 3-wide situation, think better of it. He's going to still slot in line behind the, Kool-Aid machine of Philip Van Vliet and follow them out of turn number 4.
Gotta love that Kool-Aid machine, one of the more iconic Cyber Thunder machines that we see out there on track whenever Philip's able to make it. And I tell you what, this is exactly what Mike Stiverson needed. Clear a little bit of this traffic, get himself into some somewhat clean air, not really clean air, but at least you're not, side by side with a bunch of people in the middle of the Hornet's Nest. He can kind of sit right here ahead of it. And now if you're a driver like Ed Jurgen, Eric Anderson, you got to kind of lock in a little bit. You're sweating right here. You need to find a good spot for you to run. You don't want to be using up your tires so early in stage 2.
Yeah, it becomes difficult here, Arie, but how much are you really going to use the tires in a 42-lap run? I mean, I can't imagine that it's going to be a whole lot. I like what the 20's doing. I like what Gary Bowman's doing. Some of these drivers that you would expect to see on the longer portion of a run, they're really pushing hard here on the short run.
That they are, and we'll see if it ends up paying off for these drivers as Ed Jurgen dives down to the inside to try and cover off from Jason Raymond just behind. Jurgen trying to make sure that even if he can't catch the 20, he doesn't allow that 43 to close into the picture. Raymond's going to look to the inside in the 49 as we continue to watch this battle between Van Vliet and Campbell. These two just can't seem to get away from each other.
They cannot, and Phillips still on the inside. Lee Campbell carries the momentum up on the outside. He's going to use the momentum of the outside lane to protect the 10th place running position, but they're going to have Jason Raymond directly behind him. Jason was another strong competitor, specifically on short tracks. We went out to North Wilkesboro where he led a bunch of laps. I think he got caught speeding or something happened. He lost some track position and kind of took himself out of contention, but Jason was very much a competitor at the short track in North Wilkesboro earlier in the season.
That he was. He did have that race circled, and he is good at these short tracks. Expect to see some good stuff out of Raymond tonight. This is a battle I've been monitoring for the last couple of laps. The 00 and the 4, they cannot get away from each other either. They've been running side by side for a hot minute right here. And just on that restart, I don't know if you caught it there, Tom, but there was a moment at the end of the first green flag lap where these two almost got themselves in a serious wreck on the front straightaway. They got it corralled and saved, but there was a little bit of front quarter panel into rear quarter panel action off of turn 4.
Those are the kind of moments, Arie, that they could very well go either way, and they're able to drive out of that opportunity for mistake and carry on with Brad Holmes in 6th, Tanner Moore in 7th, but that very well could have been the end of Brad Holmes's championship run if they did get together. Not the case as they continue to run.
Certainly correct. It comes down to something as simple as that, as quick as that. You can blink and it's over. And Ed Jurgen with aggressive moves down to the inside of the track. That didn't look like getting loose and saving it. That looked like he wanted to get a nose to the inside. That 92 truck is not happy about running down in 13th place at the moment. He looks like he is on the edge of his seat.
Well, Ed Jurgen, currently not the lowest running championship eligible driver. That is the 43 of Eric Anderson, who is at the back of this little group here in that petty blue number 43 Tundra. So we're going to see if he's able to chase down that 92 as these drivers continue to work their way through. Just really kind of surprising the differences that we're seeing last week from this week, as Mike Stiverson, who was for the majority of stage number 1 the lowest running driver, has made his way up inside the top 10.
That's right. He's up 8 positions from the start of the race. He is our biggest mover as it currently stands out on track. Currently running at P9, following Gary Bowman in his tire tracks nice and well. No pressure from behind for that 20 truck. Could have learned a lot from that first stage. He got past the bulk of the Hornet's Nest, and that track position is going to be worth so much when you're not having to worry about cars in front, to the side, and right behind.
Eric Anderson loses his spot to Nathan Dufton. 2 cars. Now there's a 2-car buffer between the 43 and the 92. This is not panic mode yet for the 43, but it's certainly something to keep note of to begin stage number 3 here in about 20 laps.
That it is, and it's not panic mode for the 43, but one thing that Eric Anderson has to be keeping in mind is while this is only stage 2 and there's a long way to go, you definitely don't want to have too many cars between you and the next competitor when that cycle hits, when that caution comes out, because starting stage 3 right behind one of your nearest competitors versus 2 or 3 cars behind one of your nearest competitors is going to turn out to be a pretty big difference.
You see Eric Anderson make a little bit of contact with the outside wall on the exit of turn number 2, just a scrape. He's going to be able to continue on and continue to chase down the 92, but now he's actually under fire from, I guess he's putting some heat on Nathan Dufton here. I thought that was Jarrett closing in on him, but it is not.
It is not, as the 43 looks to gain a position right here ahead of Nathan Dufton, driver of the 47. He's going to get that position down into turn 3 right here and look to set his sights on Philip Van Vliet in the 89. One thing to keep in mind, and we've seen it more in recent weeks, Tom, is that Eric Anderson has really started to stamp his name as a long-run, tire-saving kind of driver.
Yeah, he certainly has, and with stage 3 being 100 laps, I'm not entirely sure. Did you get word from any of the drivers what a fuel run might be out here? Gotta imagine it's probably a little bit under 100 laps now.
I would imagine you can't make it 100 laps. I don't have full confirmation on that. If I had to guess, I'm going to put that number around 80, but that's a loose prediction. Maybe we'll pull somebody up at the end of the stage and see what they're thinking on that for stage 3, but jumping up a little further ahead, Jason Raymond, who got around Lee Campbell, now looking to defend this position, but these two are looking pretty evenly matched at the moment, and oh, by the way, all of this happening right in front of one of our contenders in Ed Jurgen.
Jason Raymond takes a look down as they get close on the entry into turn number 1. There's actually going to be a little bit of contact there between the 60 of Lee Campbell and Jason Raymond in the 49. They're going to be able to drive out of it. No harm, no foul, but maybe a little bit of paint traded on the entry into turn number 1.
I tell you what, I think that was a perfect use of the chrome horn right there. That was just a little bit of a, I'm going to move you up the racetrack because I think I'm quicker, and props to Lee Campbell for that one in the 60. Pretty hard to do that, especially at a track like Richmond, without taking the guy out, and he's trying to let him know he's there, but at the same time, Jason Raymond's doing just enough to hold him off.
He is, and he's kind of working both lanes here as now Ed Jurgen. That brings the 92 up into the picture here. Ed's going to make a spot around the 60 of Lee Campbell, put 11th place to Ed Jurgen, as up front it is still Cody Gibson, Greg Mitchell, Andrew Caldwell by about a quarter second. That's kind of been the story out here tonight, but battles on track happening back here for about the 10th place running position. Ed Jurgen, Jason Raymond, now Lee Campbell slides back just a little bit.
We can see Eric Anderson starting to put pressure on the rear end of the 89 truck. Philip Van Vliet's got to look in his mirror now as the 43 starts to charge forward. Could Ed be seeing this in his mirror, seeing this on his relative and saying, hey, hold on, Eric Anderson's starting to close the gap. That means I got to go, and that means I got to get these passes done at whatever it takes.
To begin lap number 87 out here tonight, just about 13 laps to go in the stage. That's what these drivers see, as we're going to see a long stage 3. No incidents for caution out here tonight so far. One yellow flag illuminated over the speedway. That was our stage caution on lap number 58. And these drivers are still getting at it. Ed Jurgen trying to put any sort of distance that he possibly can in between himself and the 43, but the 43 of Anderson, he says, I want to go if you're going, and he's trying to put a move on the lone Dutchman, Phil Van Vliet.
As Anderson looks to the inside of Van Vliet, so did Jurgen look to the inside of Raymond. Wasn't going to happen for Ed on that occasion. Is Eric going to be able to make the pass in turns 3 and 4? Not so easy, because Philip is not going to give up that position without a fight, as you alluded to earlier on in the race. If you want to pass the 89 truck, you have got to work for it.
You got to work for it. Take a quick look at the running order. The lowest finishing championship eligible driver right now would be Eric Anderson. If the race were to end right now, he would be the one eliminated from championship contention, but that is only in effect at the end of lap number 200, the conclusion of tonight's race. We still have over half the race to go, but the scene is starting to be set for this run.
The scene is being set indeed as these two continue to circulate side by side. Anderson trying to pick up this position right here, trying to move himself up into P13. Van Vliet doing a great job on the outside line, giving plenty of room as well to Eric Anderson on the inside, racing as respectfully as you can without giving up the position. And Eric says, you know what, enough is enough. I'm just going to tuck back into line right here. And as they do and get single filed out, we can take a look a little further up. Matt Semple, currently running in P4, has been passed up by Andrew Caldwell, and now he's got pressure from the 76. And Tom, this is a little bit of a reverse from what we saw in stage 1, where Rick Thompson ran off for a while before Semple came back to him. This is kind of the opposite.
It really is, and I think maybe a little bit of a learning curve from last week, where we saw Rick push really hard at points throughout the races. He's going to actually slide up and almost make contact with the 16. The top 5 right now, Arie, I would say the top 5 as they run Gibson, Mitchell, Caldwell, Semple, Thompson, these are probably the top 5 running drivers in the entire league in terms of consistency and speed over at least the past 6 races or so.
I would tend to agree. Rick hasn't been here for all 6 of those races, but in the races that he has been here, he has certainly been a threat. We know Rick Thompson is fast. It's just about when he is or is not able to make it out on track. And I agree with that assessment. The top 5 right now are the top 5 for a reason, and Brad Holmes being in 6th, knocking on that door, is pretty fitting as well, if you ask me. He's waiting for the opportunity amongst these two right here, and let's not forget that the 16 truck of Matt Semple and Brad Holmes, those two are teammates.
They are teammates, and we are going to see if any of that comes into play, if maybe he plays a little bit nice with the 16 or puts some pressure on the 76 to help out Matt Semple in that Chevy Silverado. But as they run, we're going to see 5 laps to go in the stage next time by. Matt Semple still in front of the 76, but the battle for 10th place, Ed Jurgen, gets around the 49.
Ed Jurgen finally gets through. He has now got some clean track ahead of him for the final 5 laps of stage number 2. He's got a 2-car buffer to Eric Anderson, who did finally get around Philip Van Vliet as well. A little further back, all of this has settled down, and this becomes the closest battle on track then. Matt Semple holding on to P4 ahead of Rick Thompson and Brad Holmes, both of whom seem to be faster than the 16 at the moment.
You got Tanner Marr lurking in the shadows back here. Tanner started 7th, runs 7th. Quiet night so far for Tanner Marr. He may be another one to watch here on the short track as this race continues to run. But Rick Thompson all over the back of that 16 Alto Construction Chevy Silverado. He's going to take a look down to the inside. This is where things can go wrong if you're on the inside of somebody out of turn number 4 and you have to continue to put the wheel into it. It's very easy to lose the handling of the truck on the exit of 4 and go around to the inside.
That it is. Being on that outside line can certainly be an advantage as Rick Thompson gets sideways off of the corner. That brings Brad Holmes into the picture here. He's going to try and capitalize around the outside of the 76. Rick Thompson goes from looking for a position to losing a position, and now he's going to have to settle in P6.
The top 5 is rounded out now by Brad Holmes as he sets the 16 in his sights, as we see just 2 laps to go remaining in stage number 2. We're going to have 100 laps to go in stage number 3 when these drivers do conclude out here, as Brad is not going anywhere just yet. He is going to stick right with the 16 and try to take one more position here in the final lap of stage 2.
He's got 1 lap to do it, working through turns 1 and 2 right here. It might be too little too late as Matt Semple holds on with a car length advantage over the 00, and that should be all she wrote as we jump back up front and we see Cody Gibson, driver of the 1 truck, sweeping the stage. Ooh, a little bit of contact with Paxton Fritt, the lap down car right there. Shouldn't be too big of a deal, and that will do it. Both stages in the books. 20 bonus points headed Cody Gibson's way as he continues his pursuit for 3 in a row, and I do believe he has led every single lap so far this evening.
I want to say that's probably correct, Arie, as we take a quick look at the Scrambler Series running order. As they run right now, Eric Anderson in 13th, but the big story here is that there's 2 cars, I guess, in between him and the next Scrambler Series driver, Ed Jurgen. You were kind of mentioning that a little bit earlier. I would like to have been a little bit closer.
Absolutely, and we will see how this pit sequence plays out as these drivers get ready to pull down on pit road, and then we'll take a look at our fuel situation. We'll try to pull somebody up at the end of this pit sequence and see what they've got to say about how far they can make it here. Everyone's going to bring it down on pit road, though. We'll see if anyone can beat be the leader off of pit road right here. Can anyone get ahead of Cody Gibson? I think that might be what is needed because Gibson has looked pretty unstoppable.
Driver's going to slide into their box for service out here tonight. Everybody stops without issue, and we're going to take a look as they come through, see the right side tires going up on these machines, and we're going to see who wins the race off of pit road. But it was Cody Gibson, Greg Mitchell, Matt Semple as they entered pit road.
And as they exit, number 1 pit stall, always helpful. Matt Semple might lose a position or two on exit right there as well. We see everyone else make their way off of the pit lane, and it looks like they're going to come off as they came down with Ed Jurgen in 10th, Eric Anderson in 13th. Still got that 2-car buffer back there. I don't see any penalty flags being thrown up, so drivers doing a great job at avoiding any speeding penalties or the sort. And I do think I hear a truck or two getting shut off, Tom.
That could certainly play a role into stage number 3, but we're about to find out.
Well, I tell you what, why don't we ask a driver who we don't get to talk to all too much as of recent. Let's pull up Gary Bowman. What do you think?
I think we could pull up Gary. Where's he at?
Down there in Channel 5. I think you can catch up with him for this one.
I do not have Mr. Bowman. I thought you were moving him. I got Mr. Bowman, driver the number 8. Hey, Gary, we got 100 laps to go in stage number 3. You're running 8th. What are you looking to do in stage 3?
I'll probably go a little bit long here. Don't want to get caught a lap down if caution does come out, but I've been slowly working my way up.
So you're saying we're going to see green flag pit stops here. Give us a window of when we can expect to see drivers start to come down.
I would say somewhere between 50 and 60, something like that. Maybe closer to 60.
Okay. All right. Well, best of luck to you. I'm going to get you back down to Ed and team, but best of luck to you here. Hope you have a good finish to the rest of your night.
Thanks, John.
All right. We're going to move him back down there. That is the wrong channel. All right. So you heard it. Some drivers thinking maybe about splitting the stage here, maybe a little bit on the longer side of it, but maybe about 60 laps before we see a green flag pit stop here. But Cody Gibson back up to the lap pedal. Greg Mitchell up on the outside. He's going to try to stay with the 1, not able to do so on the entry into turn number 1. It's going to be Cody Gibson by half a car.
That it is, and our first battle is going to be for P3. Caldwell to the inside, Semple to the outside. Down the back straightaway they go. Brad Holmes in tow, looking for an opportunity, but they're going to be neck and neck.
Brad Holmes tries to take a spot away from the 16 as now there's vulnerability from one of these two drivers, the 46 on the inside, the 16 up on the outside. Where does Brad Holmes go? He's going to try to fill in the inside lane on the inside of his teammate of Matt Semple. They're going to
issues.
Cody Gibson goes around on the exit turn number 2, the race leader.
The race leader goes around off of the front bumper. There's more issues. Ed Jurgen involved as well. Damage on the 92. Okay, multiple things to take a look at here. Let's start with the race leader, who I do believe, Tom, I caught this as it was happening live. I think Gibson is going to get loose here, and I don't think the 55 can check up in time. He's actually going to help turn the 1 car around. Now, Greg Mitchell does get into the outside wall as well. Gibson does keep it out, which is good. Keeps it out of the wall, that is. Now, where does the second incident start? Let's take a look at this as well, if we can. We've got Ed Jurgen in the 92, Jared Camilli in the 33. He's a couple cars ahead right here. Maybe we can get a better view from the chopper camera, zoom it in just a little bit. It looks like the 33 of Camilli is checking up. The 101 of Gainforth comes down and gets into the right side of Jurgen. That is a hard hit to the right side, a hard hit to the front left for Ed Jurgen as well. And that is going to be big implications for 2 of our Scrambler Series drivers. Let's take a look at the replay one more time, and I want to watch it from on board. Greg Mitchell in P2 right here, if we can get the right camera shot for the 55, and take a look here. So you can see Greg Mitchell doing all he can to stay glued to the rear bumper of the 1 truck. No time to react by the time he started spinning right there. Both drivers racing extremely hard for the race lead. Greg Mitchell was putting a lot of elevated pressure on Gibson at that restart right there. He does hold on to the race lead as it stands. We'll see pending any caution-related penalties. We will see what is determined there as we get a good look at the 92 truck. Some significant damage on both front quarter panels. Front bumper of Ed Jurgen not looking too good, and that is potentially going to be the factor that could determine who gets eliminated tonight. But Cody Gibson, he's going to have to contend with the Hornet's Nest.
I tell you what, though, Arie, I mean, Cody Gibson was able to get away from there without any sort of damage, right? But now he puts himself in a spot that we haven't seen him in, that you were just alluding to. So we'll see how he manages the race traffic back there. And I mean, don't take Ed Jurgen out of this. Ed Jurgen's going to be restarting directly in front of Cody Gibson. So Ed Jurgen, when Ed is driving with the passion, he is one tough driver to pass. And even with that damage, I think he's going to be still a contender out here.
We certainly hope that is the case for the 92. It'll be interesting to see just how much his race car is affected from the damage that he is carrying on board. We jump out front once again, though, and for the first time tonight, the race leader is not Cody Gibson. Greg Mitchell in the 55, Andrew Caldwell in the 46. That's our front row. Into the restart zone we go for stage 3, attempt number 2, and Matt Semple on the inside is going to get a great launch to take over P2.
Yeah, Andrew Caldwell's going to fall into the clutches of the 16 and possibly the 00 as they enter into turn number 1. But Greg Mitchell steps away with a 3-truck length lead. But the battle is for second place right now, a 3-truck battle between the 1646-00.
Brad Holmes now peeking his nose into the conversation for the first time tonight. He's done nothing but move forward all night. Rick Thompson up here as well, another driver who we can't count out at this point. He's going to look to the outside of Brad Holmes. Not quite get there this go around, but the 16 and the 46, if they keep racing like this is going to be good news for Greg Mitchell.
It's going to be good news for Greg Mitchell, and it's going to be really bad news for the 0076 and 4 directly behind him, because they're taking up both usable lines on the racetrack. Greg has about a 7/10 of a second lead as it runs right now. Matt Semple on the inside, Andrew Caldwell up on the outside. Neither driver willing to give up.
As this battle continues on for P2, down into turns 3 and 4, let's get a little bit of an update. Cody Gibson running in P16. He has made his way ahead of Ed Jurgen, who seems to be running kind of on his own right now, probably struggling with that damage. Ed is going to be hoping for this race to turn into a bunch of cautions strung together so that he can try and get as much damage fixed as the time might allow, and maybe even hoping that maybe another contender or two ends up with a little bit of damage. You don't want to necessarily hope bad for somebody else, but if it does keep you alive, well, it is what it is.
On board with Mr. Thompson, Rick Thompson right now, as he is still chasing down Brad Holmes, who is still fighting with Andrew Caldwell, Matt Semple directly in front of them. Matt was able to win the battle for second place. Andrew Caldwell is going to slot back into third place running position as they cross the start-finish line to begin lap number 117 of 200 out here. Now, Arie, we just spoke to Gary a couple of laps ago. How much does Gary's pit window change here, or anybody else's change, having that short little 5-lap run there before we have that stage caution?
I think it depends. To be quite honest, I think if you just like having the numbers that you determine in your head ahead of time, it doesn't change anything. If you're willing to kind of adjust it, you might push it back a couple more laps because you were able to not use as much fuel under caution, not use as much tire under caution. So we'll see how it plays. I do think there is a bit of a factor to consider here in that cautions breed cautions, and we've already seen one in stage 3. So, does that increase our likelihood of seeing more cautions? Does that make you want to run it all the way out just in case? Because you really don't want to be caught a lap down.
And I think that's the biggest thing, Arie, and Gary said it in his interview. I think going a lap down here and getting caught a lap down underneath the green flag pit condition when a yellow flag comes out with only what'll be 40 laps to go, that is championship ending.
It certainly is, as we watch a battle between 3 of our Scrambler Series contenders. At the moment, all 3 are safe, with Ed Jurgen running at the back with damage from that incident. And we can see a couple cars behind. Cody Gibson continuing to make his way back up through the field. Remember, he had to start with an EOL on that restart, end of the longest line, tail end of the field, last car on track, and he did so from spinning out of the lead. However, remember that he did not get any damage whatsoever. He came down on pit road, probably took a new set of tires because of that slide, and now he is good to go. A little bit newer tires and, of course, a clean race car. We know how quick he is, so it's only a matter of time.
Yeah, Ed Jurgen, Dave Gainforth, Cody Gibson, they're going to have about 5 lap better tires than the drivers directly in front of them. So that's not a whole lot of time here at Richmond, but I mean, I'll take 4 lap better tires any day of the week over anybody else. So we'll see how it works out. Cody Gibson makes his way up into the top 12.
Knocking on the door of the top 10 before too long here. We're watching Mike Stiverson, who has kept himself well inside of the top 10 ever since he got there. He's running P8 at the moment. Got around Gary Bowman for the first time tonight, dropping the 8 car back to P9. Eric Anderson still in the top 10 as well, keeping that 43 car alive, keeping himself in the picture. And as we run at the moment, Ed Jurgen with that damage, he's back in P18. That is our cutoff driver as it sits. He would need to make his way back up to the top 10, as now Cody Gibson looks to start checking them off the list.
You take a look here at the track map right now. We've got Greg Mitchell in the 55 on the exit of turn number 4 highlighted. Ed Jurgen. We'll keep a close eye on that, because if this race runs green here the next 75 laps, there's going to come a point where he may go in contention of going a lap down here, as he's already probably just about a quarter or more of a lap down.
Certainly something to keep an eye on, and now we're watching Cody Gibson start to contend with some of the other Scrambler Series drivers. First one up is going to be Eric Anderson in the 43, who's not letting him go without a fight. Eric Anderson knows that even though Cody Gibson has just won 2 in a row, even though he swept both stages, he doesn't have to give this up, and that is a contender for the Scrambler Series. All it takes is something crazy to happen, and he might be knocking out Cody Gibson with this battle.
He is, and you take a look. I mean, it's very easy. Like, what would have happened, right? If Cody Gibson, if that happened with 10 laps to go in the race, right? I mean, anything can happen. We've seen Cody Gibson be flawless out here tonight, and then have one bad corner, and he finds himself running on the back half of the top 10 with an end of longest line penalty on the most recent restart. So this one is not over just yet, even though he is trying to make his way around Gary Bowman up onto 9th place.
And it looks like he should get there before too long. I'm curious to see where the one truck ends up slotting in. You got to think, to make all of these passes, to move up through the field like he is using a little more tire than some of the other drivers. I think he might start to stall out a little bit once he gets towards the top 5. And speaking of, we can see this battle for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and even 5th on track right now. Matt Semple through Rick Thompson. These 4 have not really left each other's sights ever since the restart.
They have not. Matt Semple was able to step away just a little bit, but Andrew Caldwell, Brad Holmes, Rick Thompson, and even Tanner Marr is not too far behind this. He's about 0.8 of a second behind here. So everybody in the top 10 running within 3 or 4 seconds of the race leader, and for a short track, that's pretty close. One thing that we haven't really seen a whole lot in stage 1 and stage 2, Arie, though, is lap traffic. We did see that one incident between, or not an incident, but that one attempt to get around lap traffic between Larry Bell and Paxton Frith. But aside from that, the stages have been too short. This is going to be new territory for the race leaders once they do get there.
Oh, it absolutely will be. And not only will the lap traffic be a thing, but I've noticed that towards the back end of the field, there's usually a good little cluster of drivers that are trying to battle it out there. So we go long enough, we get to the point, you're not just going to be passing one driver here or there. You're going to have to go through a handful of drivers all battling for position.
One driver looking to take away a position is Lee Campbell on the inside of the 43. They are chasing down Gary Bowman directly in front of them. They got Logan Spencer. We haven't said Logan's name out here tonight pretty much at all, but Logan having a good run out here tonight. Improved 5 spots from his qualifying effort. Currently runs in 13th place, and that truck looks like it just rolled off a pit road for the green flag.
It really does, as Campbell works over the inside of Anderson. Driver just behind, we haven't mentioned pretty much all night, and Logan Spencer at 19 having a good run out here in Richmond. He's up 5 positions from where he started this race. More close battles going on track as Rick Thompson starts to put the pressure on double-double Brad Holmes. Gotta watch that rear view mirror as that 76 truck wants to go places. He knows Cody Gibson is closing in on the top 5 right here, and he wants to try and stay ahead as much as he can. He's gonna get that little side draft down to the inside of turn 1. How hard can Brad Holmes fight?
Rick Thompson's going to send it down onto the inside and try to slide up in front of the 0-0 on the exit of turn number 2. Not going to be able to slide up. They're going to race into turn number 3 side by side. Advantage to the 76 on the inside right now, but the momentum is coming for the 0-0.
Holmes is going to fight it on the outside. He does not want to give up this position. He knows it's going to be difficult to go back up there and catch Rick Thompson yet again. Rick Thompson's thinking, I need to get this pass done as soon as I can. I got to keep checking these guys off the list if I want a shot by the end of it. He's trying everything he can on that inside, but with the tighter radius all the way around the track on the inside here in Richmond, it's just so hard to try and make anything stick when that outside line is so good.
It's been a really good couple of weeks here for Rick Thompson on the Cyber Thunder Racing League. Last week he finished, was it 2nd or 3rd? I believe it was 2nd at Kentucky behind Cody Gibson. This week, again, he's running up inside the top 5 and showing that he deserves to get his first career Cyber Thunder Racing League win. Is tonight the night? I don't know, but we're going to find out if Rick is able to do it. And I tell you what, if we get a late race restart here, keep an eye on the 76 because he has been one of the fastest all night.
I agree with your sentiment there, Tom, and it's interesting to think about. We're looking at a battle between 2 drivers. Neither one has actually won a race in the Cyber Thunder Racing League, and that seems like a stat that can't be true. Rick Thompson, Brad Holmes, these are 2 drivers who we know are some of the quickest out there on their day, still both hunting for their first win. The stars have not aligned, and they're going to get a little close right there. Not to mention that these are 2 of the more aggressive drivers we do have out there on track, so any battle between these 2 is going to be a good one.
Well, Rick Thompson is staying right up on the back bumper of that 0-0, and we'll see if he chooses to use the chrome horn as we are working lap number 139 of 200. From what we heard from Gary Bowman before, we expect to be within 10 to 20 laps from seeing green flag pit stops.
A little further back, Eric Anderson, Gary Bowman, 2 of our contenders now going to battle as Anderson just barely gets into the left rear quarter panel of Bowman in the 8. They get it squared away. They're good. We've got Lee Campbell and Logan Spencer. We got Philip Van Vliet. We got 3 trucks behind these 2 just letting them try and settle it out amongst each other because those 3 want to get going places, but a little bit of a roadblock right now.
Quick little update on Ed Jurgen. He is still back in 18th. He's going to need some help if he wants to move out of the Scrambler Series and not be eliminated from championship contention out here tonight. Currently runs 18th, several seconds behind this group.
And that would certainly be an upset if we do knock Ed Jurgen out tonight. That's a driver who a lot of us thought could end up being a dark horse for the Final Four this season. These guys are continuing to go at it, Eric Anderson and Gary Bowman, and Lee Campbell may be looking to the inside. I wouldn't count that 60 out for making a 3-wide move if it's there.
I wouldn't count it out. Lee Campbell was eliminated last week at Kentucky. And he had messaged you, and he was putting in the laps last week, trying to improve himself and trying to keep that 60 Ford F-150 in championship contention. Did not go the way that he wanted it to go at the end of the night at Kentucky, but he is having a great run out here tonight on the outside of the top 10.
Couldn't agree more. And man, as we watch this battle continue to unfold, this very intense wheel-to-wheel action, I'm just reminded of how easily it can fall apart for any of our contenders, just like it did for Ed Jurgen. Ed is not out of this until the checkered flag falls, and there could just as easily be another incident involving one, if not more, of our contenders here, and that's going to be something that Ed's got in the back of his mind at the moment, especially with how hard some of these guys are racing.
Yeah, absolutely. You saw a little bit of a close moment on the exit of turn number 4 there, and now Lee on the inside of the 43 trying to take a position away, but they got the lone Dutchman, Phil Van Vliet, directly behind him. Steven Music right behind them, but Rick Thompson has made his way around Brad Holmes.
Having a little bit of issues there to the 0-0. He's going to lose multiple positions here, Tom. I'm not entirely sure what happened. We can maybe get a little bit of a replay because I know I saw Brad Holmes way up out of the groove. Oh, he gets sent into the corner. All right.
All right, welcome to short track racing.
We got beef. Okay, well, Rick Thompson, you better hope that that 00 can't catch back up to you with that one. Thompson getting frustrated.
He's losing.
Yeah,
He must have heated the tires up here. He is in danger of losing multiple spots as he's got Jason Raymond and now Cody Gibson directly behind him as well.
Oh, absolutely. And we know Cody Gibson is going places fast. You got to figure that's at least one in just a matter of time here. But that 00, he's going to have to get his head down. We both know, we've both raced Brad Holmes. We know what he's like. I can imagine he's probably fuming under the helmet right now. Is that 00 very competitive? And definitely not going to be happy at that move from the 76, but equally so. I mean, that's a very Rick Thompson move. I was just talking about it a couple laps ago. These two are very aggressive. I could see either one of those two drivers making that move, to be honest. And now Rick is going to be doing his best to chase down Andrew Caldwell, Matt Semple.
Yeah, Rick does have Dustin Ping, a lap vehicle, in between him and Andrew Caldwell, and probably about a half a second in between him and Caldwell. But Caldwell is kind of on the move here the last couple of laps. He's chased down the 16 just a little bit.
That he has. Matt Semple has a lot to think about in his rear view mirror. Not a lot to think about out his front windshield, because Greg Mitchell is gone by a little over 4 seconds. Make that the entire back straightaway just about. That 55 car is on a mission now that Gibson has had issues here, but Caldwell's going to look to the inside. They do have a little bit of a wild card here. Dustin Ping in the red and black 81. He is a lap down. He has already made his pit stop. He's on brand new tires. He is going to be a lot faster than these guys. He's going to go around the outside right here. That is going to hinder Matt Semple's exit and allow the 46 to close in just a little bit more.
Caldwell gets to the back bumper of Matt Semple's Silverado as they enter into turn number 3. It's Chevy versus Toyota as they come across the start-finish line to begin. 152 of 200 out here tonight. Andrew Caldwell trying to make a pass on the 16 of Andrew Caldwell as Cody Gibson on pit road here with 50 laps to go. I tell you what, Arie, this is risk-reward here. Big risk.
Big risk and potentially big reward for Cody Gibson. This is exactly halfway through stage 3, and we're now going to keep our eyes glued. Mike Stiverson, another one of our contenders. Lee Campbell in the 60 truck as well, bringing it down.
I think this tells us, without a shadow of a doubt, that Cody Gibson wants to get back up there and wants to go for 3 wins in a row. If he was just comfortable just riding where he was, he would have waited for the field to kind of cycle through to ensure that he wasn't caught a lap down, as only 3 cars, maybe 4 cars have pitted as Jason Raymond makes his way in from the top 10 here. This is a risk. I mean, it could work out, but it could end your championship hunt.
It absolutely could, and all the while, Caldwell.
For Jason Raymond.
Oh, Jason Raymond, top 10 driver tonight, speeding on entry, absolutely a race killer under green flag conditions at a track as short as Richmond. Good catch on that one. I was going to mention that Caldwell had made his way around Semple. Here comes Thompson now, and this is interesting. Rick Thompson actually got to the outside of Semple, which is not something you can really see the attacking car do all that easily.
Yeah, he's been able to close in on the back bumper of the 16 now just a little bit. They got Tanner Marr directly behind him, as it sounds like Greg Mitchell, the race leader, is going to come down onto pit road this time. Steven Music also on pit road. Rick Thompson's going to take a look down onto the inside of the 16, possibly the 46 maybe coming down as well.
Looks like Caldwell in the 46 does come down just in front of the now battle for the race lead between Semple and Thompson, as it looks like Rick Thompson's going to have to give up that inside line yet again right here. How long do these two stretch it out, do we figure? We're about 5 laps after the very first pit stop. You could still get away with going a little more and have that tire advantage.
If you're in the chase or if you're in the playoffs here, you run it as long as you can, because all you need to do is beat one driver. If you're a driver like Rick, I'm going to come down probably in the next 2 or 3 laps, and I'm not going to run it dry.
Well, I tell you what, I think Ed Jurgen's got the right idea. He needs a miracle, and he is staying out on track. Move Ed Jurgen up to P3 as it runs. I bet you anything, Tom, that 92 is going to run until he's out of fuel.
I like this look here for Ed Jurgen. This puts him in a position, if something goes awry on track, he has both track position and a lap on his competitors. I like this for the 92, even with the damage that he's got.
Absolutely. All it would take is a caution right about now. and Ed would be in a great position compared to some of those competitors. You could see how he's circulating the track a lot slower than what you might expect. We're going to see Philip Van Vliet in the 89 come up on the back of the 92. That won't be for position, but just a little indication as to what Ed is dealing with behind the wheel. Let's ride on board with Ed Jurgen right here, and let's take a look at the wheel input just to give us an indication.
Going to go down into turn number 1. Looks pretty steady, but right about the apex you could start to see that he really starts to get tight, which is the opposite of what we saw in turn 3 last time, where he got super loose, as he has multiple cars working their way around him. Last time by, Ed Jurgen was about 2 seconds slower. Oh no,
Yellow
Arie.
flag. Yellow
Arie.
flag is out. Nathan Dufton on the back straightaway is going to bring the yellow flag out, and Ed Jurgen may have just caught a pretty monumental break. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at what happened with driver 47. If we can get this replay working for us right here. Driver 47. Let's slow it down just a little bit. Coming off of turn number 2, this is a trouble spot. So often for many of these drivers. I have lost a race at Richmond from the lead doing this exact thing before. As the 47 slides down the back straightaway, he is going to... Is he going to nose it into the wall? Just a little love tap right there. A little bit in the rear bumper, but I don't see any visual damage. Should be okay with how square he hit it right there. But that caution is a very big deal, as we see. Tanner Marr, by the way, Tom, the biggest beneficiary of all, perhaps, having been in the race lead at the time of the yellow.
Yeah, Ed Jurgen, I mean, I don't want to say that we...
My God, Tom,
What?
I'm sorry to cut you off. Ed Jurgen is electing to stay on the racetrack to ensure that some of his competitors cannot wave around.
Oh, boy.
Ed Jurgen has just pulled off a potential masterclass in strategy here. I do believe everybody ahead of him will wave around, but notably, the 43 of Anderson and his own teammate, the 8 of Bowman, right behind him, likely unable to receive a wave around here and will remain a lap down.
Well, that changes things.
That certainly does. I mean, we knew the Scrambler Series was going to get crazy, but I don't think any of us could have guessed that this would happen.
So, let's set the scene here real quick. Ed Jurgen last on pit road at lap number 108. These drivers are working lap 163. Every other driver has been on pit road in the last 10 to 15 laps on the shorter end of that stick for most drivers. So there's a 50-lap difference here, Arie. Is this his only chance?
I think it is. I think realistically it is. If he comes down for the tires, try to get some of that damage fixed, everyone waves around. He might start ahead of him still, he might not, but we know on pace just how much the 92 is struggling. If he gives himself an entire lap advantage with less than 40 laps to go, I mean, if we run green to the end, Tom, I think that guarantees he stays ahead of at least one other driver.
But that could be his teammate, and, you know, I mean, it's every man for himself, but
It could be. I tell you what, if this move eliminates Gary Bowman, his teammate, we are not letting Ed Jurgen live that down. Here's how it's shaping up at the moment for all of you watching along at home. The top 11 drivers, by the looks of it, are going to be on the lead lap. Everybody 12 on back is at least one lap down. Most notably of those drivers, Eric Anderson, Gary Bowman. Those two are both Scrambler Series contenders. Now, they are lining up on the second row, which makes this even more interesting, Tom, because we've got lap cars in the middle of the situation right here. I think this is playing into Tanner Marr's court very well for a surprise winner tonight. If we go green all the way to the end, I mean, the next closest competitor, Greg Mitchell, Cody Gibson, they are, I guess it would be Cody Gibson, who's got a number of cars to get around, even if they are lap down cars. So we're going to have to see how this restart goes, but it's getting interesting.
All right, pace car down and out of the way. He had a little bit of an extended caution there as we were trying to get the field back together. Ed Jurgen does not get a good restart there, and he's going to slide the tires. That's going to give the lead to Tanner Marr with 50 lap better tires. Ed Jurgen just in damage control mode here as we have under 40 laps to go out here tonight.
Damage control mode for the 92. Can everybody get around him nice and clean? Tanner Marr is going to run and hide in the race lead on 4 fresh tires with a lap car buffer or 4. We can see Cody Gibson on the outside. Now, Cody Gibson was one of the first drivers to come down under that sequence. He does have older tires than the likes of Andrew Caldwell right behind him. That is going to be another thing for us to keep our eye on right there as we see Gibson finally getting to the outside of the 92. We know Gary Bowman is up there with Tanner Marr. Gary might be able to get his lap back the hard way, but Eric Anderson is struggling.
Eric Anderson is struggling, and on paper right now, he is the lowest running championship eligible driver. He's got to get around the 92, which he's going to do. Rick Thompson goes around off the bumper of the 16.
The 16 gets into the 76, and now we are under yellow yet again, and I do believe if we take a look up front, Gary Bowman did not get his lap back the hard way, which means he'll get the free pass. Eric Anderson should remain 1 lap down. Let's take a look at what happened to the 76 of Rick Thompson here. As we are going to... Oh, there was a bit of a checkup. Logan Spencer, big checkup. A little bit of an accordion effect by the looks of it. Rick Thompson had to get into the brakes hard. Matt Semple, the 3rd car in line. When you're the 3rd car in the line and something like that happens, you just cannot react in time. There's nothing you can do. So nothing malicious from the 16 in that case right there. We'll get another look right here, and let's take a look from on board the 16 of Matt Semple right here and show you just how fast this happens. Maybe even jump back an additional couple of seconds right here. All happens very fast right in front of your eyes. Little time to react, but not too much. It started with Ed Jurgen struggling to get off the corner. Logan Spencer checked up to give him some room. Rick Thompson then checked up, and by that time, it was into the rear bumper we go. So now we have some differing pit strategies. Andrew Caldwell leads this race in the 46. Mike Stiverson currently runs in P2. On pit road this time, Tanner Marr, Cody Gibson, Rick Thompson, Ed Jurgen. So the 92 truck is going to have the opportunity to get some new tires finally, get some of that damage fixed. He still has one of his competitors. Does he still have one? Yes, he does. One of his competitors is a lap down, the 43 truck of Eric Anderson, just behind the race leaders right here. Eric Anderson might be a victim to where the caution flags are falling, mixed with Ed Jurgen's strategy to keep him a lap down. Gary Bowman did get the free pass. He is back on the lead lap. Gary Bowman currently above the cut line and safe. All the while, we have a very shaken up field. Andrew Caldwell in the lead. Mike Stiverson in P2. Matt Semple and Philip Van Vliet are the second row. Brad Holmes rounds out the top 5. Greg Mitchell, who was leading in stage 3 before all of this, runs in P6. Lee Campbell in 7th. Tanner Marr just came down pit road for another brand new set, interestingly enough. He is going to take those new tires from P8, as is teammate Cody Gibson, and P9 Rick Thompson in 10th. And we are going to see how this all shakes up right here as we watch Andy Court get the wave around. We're doubled up, the lights are out on the pace car, and this race has been flipped on its head.
I tell you what, Arie, this has been a lot of fun to watch, and how it's played out. Andrew Caldwell, Mike Stiverson on the front row for this one. And we'll take a quick look as they run. Eric Anderson, Gary Bowman, the bottom 2 Scramble Series drivers as they run to this restart here. Caldwell on the inside, Stiverson up on the outside. Into the restart zone we go, and away they are.
Inside line gets a great run. Matt Semple in the 16. He's going to be putting the pressure all over the back of Andrew Caldwell down into turn 1. Stiverson way to the outside, as is Van Vliet. And we have Brad Holmes on the inside. Gets a little loose, but we're good. Little 3-wide action further back. Ed Jurgen in the 92. He wants to go places. And oh, by the way, that front bumper is looking a whole lot better all of a sudden.
Looking a whole lot better, and he's about to make it look a whole lot worse here. in the closing laps with 27 laps to go out here. Andrew Caldwell at the point, but he is being chased down. What a story it would be if Andrew Caldwell could pick up a win out here tonight, Arie. So close so many times throughout the season.
Absolutely. I could not agree more. That would be a fan favorite win for sure. And I tell you what, one of the biggest factors is going to be how the 55 and the 1 are able to contend with everyone right here. Tanner Marr is going to send it 3 wide. Tanner Marr is on brand new tires, Tom. He just pit for 4 fresh tires, and he is moving quick.
He is on the move. Tanner Marr, last pit, he's going to have about 13, 14 lap better tires than these race leaders. He needs to get around Greg Mitchell in the 55, though. He doesn't have a whole lot of time to work with it if he wants to chase down the 001646.
Not a lot of time to work with. He does also have teammate Cody Gibson on his tail. Cody Gibson took tires on this last caution as well, and we know how fast Cody Gibson has been tonight, so Tanner Marr is going to have his hands full trying to keep the 1 truck behind him as they try to work over Greg Mitchell, arguably their biggest contender at the moment. He's going to get to the inside. Greg Mitchell's at a tire disadvantage of about 14 lap difference. 14 laps worse than the 2 that he's trying to race right now. And Andrew Caldwell up front, he is just going to be hoping and praying that this battle takes as long as it possibly can and that the others, Matt Semple, Brad Holmes, give them a hard time.
Looking at the Scrambler Series as they run right now, Eric Anderson, the only Scrambler Series driver, 1 lap down. He is going to need some help. He is currently in the cut position here as he is running 14th. Currently in the free pass position if we do get a caution right at this very moment, but the 43 is going to need some help here in the closing laps.
That he is, and we see Cody Gibson get around Tanner Marr. A little bit of help from a teammate right there, not to fight too hard, and that opens the door for Cody Gibson to try and chase down the 3 cars in front of him. He is on the best tires of the top 4. In order, Caldwell pit on lap 155, Semple and Holmes 156. So just about even on the tires, and then Cody Gibson 169, as was Tanner Marr. They have got now 21 laps to the finish, and we will see how this is going to shake out. Cody Gibson's got to get good at passing race cars.
Cody Gibson currently runs in 4th after getting a mid-race penalty for bringing out a yellow flag, and Cody Gibson has just 2 more cars to go before he sees the race leader in his windshield. He's going to take a look on Brad Holmes on the exit of turn number 4, put Cody Gibson up in the battle for 3rd place with Brad Holmes.
How hard does Brad Holmes fight this in the 0-0? He's going to keep the 1 pinched all the way down on the inside. He's going to try and keep that nose there down the back straightaway. He does everything he can, but Gibson on those newer tires is going to get into turn 3. He's going to make it happen, make it stick, and that is going to be 1 position down. Tanner Marr is going to look to follow his teammate through. Down into turn 1 we go. Matt Semple, the only truck remaining now between Cody Gibson and Andrew Caldwell.
18 laps to go next time by for Andrew Caldwell, and here comes Tanner Marr on the inside of the 00 Ford F-150 of Tanner Marr. He's going to try to take a look and bring himself up into the championship contention. This looks very similar to Atlanta here a couple of weeks ago here, Arie. Cody Gibson was chasing down Andrew Caldwell in the closing laps, was able to get around him to get his first win, and that set him on a string of 2 wins in a row. Is tonight 3. He's going to take a look down to the inside of Semple.
He's going to look for it, and he is going to do everything he can to make this pass and make it quick. He's got to use those new tires before they hit the cliff. Matt Semple on the outside. He's going to try and keep it pinned down into turn 1, but I think the 16 knows that he can't do too much with it. He might fancy sliding back into line and following the 1 truck through the 46, assuming that he can make the pass happen. We're going to be at 16 laps to go this time by.
Andrew Caldwell driving for his life right now as Cody Gibson now back up to the front of the field on the inside of the 46. He's going to try to take the lead away once again here. Dominant in the early portions of tonight's race, had to make his way through from about 20th place, and now he's back contending once again for the race win.
Andrew Caldwell sending it in as far as he can on those older tires, but it's just not enough. Cody Gibson back to the point on the brand new tires, took them at what might turn out to be just the right time. Driver who won both Stage 1 and Stage 2, wrecked early in Stage 3, had a spin from first place, had to go to the back of the field, and now all of a sudden he finds himself back at the point just in time.
I think here, Arie, I think Tanner's opportunity closed when the 46 got passed by the one of Cody Gibson. If Tanner had an opportunity here, it was going to come when they were racing side by side. Gibson able to get around Caldwell there a lap ago. I think that kind of shuts the door for Tanner.
I think it does as well. I agree with that statement. And as we look through the running order at the moment, I want to bring some attention to the fact that Ed Jurgen is holding his own in P7 now. He is on pace ahead of a couple of drivers he's competing against. Now, he does have much newer tires than the likes of Mike Syverson just behind him, but Ed Jurgen, he is not just banking on the fact that Eric Anderson's a lap down. He is also out there putting himself in good position.
He certainly is, and I mean, after that wreck on lap 60 or 70 for the 92, I mean, he was in trouble. He was 3 or 4 seconds back by the time stage 2 ended, and Ed Jurgen has turned his night around through a very bold pit strategy of electing to stay out, make everybody else not take the wave around, and now he's looking for maybe even a top 5 at the end of tonight.
We'll see how it's going to shake out for the 92. We jump back up towards the front. Tanner Marr continuing to put pressure on Matt Semple for the final podium position. As we run down onto the backstretch, Brad Holmes has got to think about Greg Mitchell in his rearview mirror as well. A lot of these drivers starting to converge in the closing laps.
They are. Tanner Marr, he is putting the loud pedal down on the 16, but I think this might be too little, too late for Tanner Marr to get the race win. But second place is certainly in the cards here for Tanner if he's able to work his way around Matt Semple on the inside here as they work through the south end of the speedway. Tanner Marr on the inside of Matt Semple and Andrew Caldwell not too far ahead.
Had that positioning to the inside, could not make it stick even with the tire advantage. Tanner Marr is going to try and peek a nose to the outside, do everything he can. He wants to get onto that podium and get around Matt Semple, but Matt Semple in the 16, he's going to put up one hell of a fight. That 16's been on a tear recently, as has the 46 of Caldwell, both shaping up to have another great result.
They certainly, and I tell you what, Andrew Caldwell, I think, has probably been the most, it's hard to say that Cody Gibson hasn't been the most consistent with 2 wins in 2 Scramble Series races. Take Cody Gibson out of the picture here, at least for this conversation. I think Caldwell has probably been the most consistent aside from the one.
I think there is something to be said for that argument there. If this race finishes how it's running at the moment, we're going to have 3 straight wins from Cody Gibson, and we're going to have 3 straight races from Andrew Caldwell that he could have won had things gone slightly different. He's been putting himself in great position.
He really has, and he is now separated a little bit over third place battle between the 4 and the 16. These drivers come down into the south end of turns 1 and 2, and Matt Semple's going to tag the wall on the exit of turn number 2. They're going to still race side by side down into turn number 3. This is a battle for a podium spot.
Off of the corner, Tanner Marr's got the grip, but Matt Semple's got the momentum on that high line. They're going to send it down in side by side yet again. 6 laps to go through 1 and 2. Is Marr able to clear? He is, just barely. He gets into the wall, and now crossover from Matt Semple.
Semple down onto the inside, Marr up onto the outside, and here comes Brad Holmes directly behind the 16. Tanner Marr is able to clear by about a truck length here. Andrew Caldwell holds on to a second place running position, but up front it is all Cody Gibson, 1.2 seconds over the remainder of the field.
Cody Gibson continues to run away with the race lead as we watch this battle now for P4 on the back straightaway. Teammates Matt Semple, Brad Holmes, 4th and 5th on the track, still running fast enough to hold off Greg Mitchell and keep him out of the top 5, but not for long. If Brad Holmes is going to get into the wall like that, he is going to lose that advantage or that gap to Matt Semple and now close in the 55 on his rear bumper. It might be a little too late on the tires. However, these drivers have been going for nearly 50 laps on this set at this point, and there's only so much you can do once they fall off.
Yeah, and I think we're seeing the effects of that now as Andrew Caldwell now starts to fall into the clutches of Tanner Marr once again here as we see just 3 laps to go, 2.5 miles of racing out here from the Commonwealth of Virginia out here tonight in Richmond.
Across the line this time, Cody Gibson's going to have popsicle sticks in the air, 2 laps to go, just hopes that this lap goes green. Tanner Marr might not have enough time to get to the rear bumper of Andrew Caldwell in the 46. As those new tires start to fade, as everything equalizes out what could have been for the 46 of Caldwell, but what has been for the 1 of Cody Gibson, who's going to take the white flag.
white flag for Cody Gibson. We see the final lap in the Richmond Wrangler 200. And Cody Gibson looking to go 3 in a row for the first time in a full calendar year here in the Tuesday Night Thunder Championship Truck Series. It's hard to say that Cody Gibson is not a favorite, as he's going to take win number 7 out here tonight from Richmond Raceway.
Coming out of turn 4 for the 3rd week in a row, it's Cody Gibson in victory lane. 3 on the bounce for the first time in a year here in the Cyber Thunder Racing League Tuesday Night Thunder Truck Series. Cody Gibson starts off the playoffs in about as good a way as you can imagine, and doing so at a very different combination of 3 racetracks. He's going out there everywhere we go and proving that it doesn't matter. As long as he's on track, you are going to have to go through the one truck. As those victory donuts are had, we take a moment to acknowledge the fact that the driver eliminated from championship contention tonight is Eric Anderson in the 43, comes home in P14, a driver who on pace alone had the speed to make it through this round, but unfortunately, with how the cautions fell, with the crazy strategy that we saw played by Ed Jurgen in the 92 to save his own season, traps the 43 a lap down, and Eric Anderson will be the driver eliminated. He will have a shot at the championship still in a couple weeks' time when we make our way out to Michigan for the redemption round. All of the drivers eliminated up to that point will have one more shot to win the race and steal a spot in the Final Four. With all of that said and done, let's take a look at our final podium finishers. Let's see if we can't queue up a couple of these drivers here and take a look at our final results, get some closing words here. Let me see if we can go back here with our fancy little camera. Depending. There we go, and we will pull up our 3rd place finisher. We've got Tanner Marr, driver of the 4, comes home in 3rd place on the podium, and what was a typical Tanner Marr kind of race where, you know, you kind of start somewhere, you're a little anonymous, we don't really say your name too much, and then as the race goes on, all of a sudden that 4 truck's closing in more and more, and, you know, at one point with the way the cautions fell, with the way the tire strategy was going, it looked like you might have been the favorite to win for a brief moment of time, but, oh, here comes the teammate Cody Gibson. Oh, I think we lost Tanner Marr out of the room. Tanner Marr, finisher of P3, do we got you?
Yeah, sorry. I'm here now. Sorry, I tried to speak a while ago and it kicked me or something. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But, yep, every week it happens. Cody is, I don't know. He has a little bit more pace than what I got for sure. I can never stay out in front of him.
Sometimes that's how it goes, but I guess if it's going to happen to anyone, might as well be a teammate. I tell you what, a little bit of mixed emotions here, Tanner, I can imagine. I mean, just last week in Kentucky, you weren't feeling very good. Things just didn't align, and you found yourself eliminated from the Scrambler Series, at least for the time being. You come out here to Richmond, you have a great race, you're on the podium. What's going through your head when something like that happens? I mean, you know, if you made it through Kentucky, you'd be good through here as well. Like, how do you balance that?
It sucks. I mean, it really does suck. But I mean, it's part of it, right? We should have been better at Kentucky. Sorry, I had people PMing me, but should have been better at Kentucky, you know. But we'll race out the rest of the season as if we are a part of it, and we definitely got Michigan circled as the redemption race.
Absolutely. That is going to be a great race. Lots of people going for their way to win in. Well, I tell you what, Tanner, great run tonight regardless as we turn our attention to Pocono next week. I'll open up the floor to you to give any haze, highs, shout-outs, and the like.
I want to send a shout-out to you and Tom. Thank you all for what y'all do. I know y'all both rather be racing with us, but instead you're calling action, letting us go back and watch it, so we appreciate that. Shout out to my teammate Cody Gibson on the win. Raymond and Bell, neither one had races that they want to brag about, but that's part of it. We're racing. And that's basically it. I'm sure Cody will hit the rest of them, but shout out to y'all and shout out to Cody on the win.
Absolutely. Congrats again, Tanner. We'll send you back down there. And that brings us to Our runner-up finisher, Tom may have caught up with our runner-up finisher.
I've got the driver, the 46, Andrew Caldwell. Andrew, Tom, and Arie up here. How you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing okay.
Yeah, I feel like this has kind of been the tale of the Scrambler Series here for you. So close so many times. Once again, another podium finish out here. I tell you what, consistency is carrying you far out here. And, well, you move on to the round of 8 next week.
Yeah, because I don't know. I really did not think tires would come through the field that quick at all. Like I thought, I just had to hold Semple off. That's all I thought I had to do. I did it before throughout the race, and I really thought I had it there. And then Cody came through on his fresh tires, and I tried to hold him off, and I couldn't.
Well, next week we go to the Tricky Triangle. That's a very good track at Pocono Raceway, where it's going to be a double elimination. Both races now, Pocono and the one after that, going to be double elimination races. I mean, how are you setting yourself up out here over the next couple of weeks to move into the championship race in just 4 weeks' time?
Well, consistency again. Yeah, try and keep track position as best you can, especially at a place like Pocono. You get a penalty or something, you go to the back, it's going to be really hard to try and fight back through the field. So definitely got to qualify well and keep it up front.
All right. Well, Andrew, congratulations on another podium out here tonight at Richmond Raceway. Thought tonight might have been the night for you. Come up one spot short. Allow you to open up the floor for you. Anybody you want to say hello to back home watching that 46, come home second.
First off, I want to thank Tanner Marr for sponsoring us here tonight. I want to thank you and Arie up in the booth for broadcasting. And I want to say thank you to Mom and Dad as usual.
All right, Andrew, congratulations once again on another podium finish. We're going to kick you back down, let you go debrief, and we will be back with you here in a little bit. But the winner out here tonight gets win number 7 of the season, and that is Cody Gibson, and I believe Arie Heinzman has got the race winner.
That I do. 3 races in a row for the first time in 1 calendar year. Congrats, Cody, from the previous winner of 3 in a row to the newest winner of 3 in a row. How are you feeling?
Very relieved. I didn't think I was going to come back up there.
Yeah, I tell you what, I mean, it looked like you had everything under control, just like you kind of did in the first 2 races of the Scrambler here. I mean, you led every lap through the first half of the race. You swept the stages. You held off Greg Mitchell at every attempt, and then he kind of threw the pressure on right away in stage 3, and we saw you get loose, and around you went. Thankfully, you didn't have any damage there, but the chaos didn't end there because we had some other things going on in the field, so I'm not sure how much you knew from behind the wheel, but we had Ed Jurgen suffering a lot of damage. He was going to get eliminated, and he decided that when a caution came out in the middle of that green flag sequence, he was going to keep himself out to keep some others a lap down. It played out in his favor, but while all that's going on, I mean, how much do you know? How much is it, you're keeping up with it, your teammates are keeping up with it, you're in the loop versus it's just chaos and you're just trying to survive?
I mean, we really wasn't keeping up with it. I mean, I think Tanner finally passed Matthew there at the end, and we kind of discussed, hey, is Andrew in the chase? Because he was going to try to pass him, and I was like, yes, he is. He just said, well, I ain't going to try to do nothing outrageous, right? So, I mean, it is in the discussion. I lapped down at one point, and I knew Ed had a lot of damage, and I was like, well, if he has a lot of damage, that's probably the person I need to beat, but everything worked out. Me and Tanner were debating to pit when we pitted on that last stop, and Tanner was saying he was an idiot for doing it, and I was like, well, I had really no choice. I had a set lane and 15 laps on my tires, and he goes, screw it, I'll pit with you, and we pitted. And I mean, I don't necessarily know that he might have threw it away when he pitted, so I might have made his mind up for him, but that's unfortunate because we were talking in Discord, and he had like better long run speed than I did. We were just saying, hey, what was your lap time this run? And then he was like a tenth faster than me, and I was like, oh man. So if I ever knew he got out front, I probably wouldn't have catched him. And I don't know, that little spin with me, I think Greg just got so close to me and packed the air on my wing there, or whatever you want to call it, and it just got me loose because I kind of did it to Brad also. I got real close to him coming off a corner, and it got him loose, and I was like, oh, that's how Greg did it.
Interesting stuff to learn indeed. We were glad that we were able to catch that replay and see how it all happened. But I tell you what, 3 very different tracks. You come out here, you win all 3 of them in a row. We look at Pocono next week, which will kind of continue this trend of tracks that differ from one another. I said it as you cross the line, but it's kind of coming down to, at this point, it doesn't matter where we go. As long as that one truck is out there on track, it seems like that's the one everyone's going to have to go through. So how are you feeling about Pocono? I've heard you talk, a little bit about Charlotte, which is where the finale is, but we got an interesting lineup of races coming up to round out the Scrambler.
Yeah, I mean, right now I'm not even really worried about Charlotte. I got to get there first. So Pocono, it all depends on the setup. If it fits my driving style, if it doesn't, I'm probably going to struggle. If I feel good, hopefully I'm there at the end up front. At least not the last place car. So we'll see how it shakes out. I definitely got to do some practice, and when we get to Charlotte the week before, I'll be doing a lot of laps trying to figure out my tire situation because I am no good there.
Absolutely. Well, I tell you what, we'll open up the floor to you. Big winner on the night. 3 in a row. Any Hayes Highs, shout-outs, or the like?
You two up in the booth. I mean, y'all, we go in circles. Y'all call the action. So if y'all didn't call the action, people wouldn't be knowing what we're doing in the circle. So I appreciate everything y'all do. Of course, my teammates there at Five King. Then Tanner Marr for sponsoring the race. I seen he sponsored. So I don't know how Tom got some money out of his pocket, but Tom did his magic. But I appreciate everything.
Absolutely. There we have it. Congrats again, big winner on the day. And with that, Tom, we have wrapped what did indeed turn out to be quite the chaotic race here in Richmond. And after it was all said and done, we do bid adieu to the 43 of Eric Anderson, who was really, caught out by something of not really his own doing at the end of the day.
Yeah, Eric Anderson gets eliminated from the playoffs out here tonight from the Scrambler Series. And gotta say that is probably one of the bigger surprises in the Scrambler Series. Now, we did see kind of a chaotic race, but a lot of it was through strategy. It wasn't through the classic Richmond wrecks that you would sometimes expect to see. So this was a lot of fun to call out here tonight, Arie. And I tell you what, if you think the Scrambler Series is intense now, just wait until we go into a double elimination race next week at Pocono.
Absolutely. A track like Pocono where it can be so hard to pass, where these drivers can be running nose to tail in the draft down the 3 different straightaways. I think Pocono is a great place to have something like that. And given that we're, crunching the field down more and more, we're going to enter Pocono next week with a field of drivers, none of whom we feel like should really be eliminated, and yet still we have to get rid of 2.
That is absolutely the truth. On the Scrambler Series, the saying about it is that it does not care about your feelings. And we're going to find out how next week's race goes at Pocono. But before we do that, we got the finishing results from Richmond Raceway out here tonight. Race number 19 of 23. Big winner out here tonight. 7 wins on the season. Cody Gibson out of Five Kings Motorsports takes home his 3rd straight win in the Scrambler Series. Is he the favorite? Some may say yes. Andrew Caldwell's going to come home in 2nd place. You heard him and Tanner Marr in our podium interviews. Matt Semple's going to come home in 4th place, and the top 5 is rounded out by Brad Holmes. Greg Mitchell leads a bunch of laps out here tonight, but is good enough for 6th on the board. Ed Jurgen pulls a rabbit out of his hat and comes home 7th place out of New Jersey. Mike Stiverson comes home in 8th place. Gary Bowman 9th, and Phil Van Vliet the top 10.
In 11th, it's going to be Lee Campbell ahead of Andy Cork, finishing in P12. 13th goes to Rick Thompson. Eric Anderson, the driver eliminated from contention tonight, finishes in P14. Steven Music comes home in 15th ahead of Jarrett Kimmerly in 16th. Dave Gainforth comes home 17th. Logan Spencer in 18th. And rounding out the top 20, Nathan Dufton in the 47 and Dustin Pink.
And our field of 24 is rounded out by Jason Raymond in 21st, had a speeding penalty on pit road and ended his night early. Paxton Frith comes home 22nd with Chris Letts in 23rd. And then finally, Five Kings Motorsports driver Larry Bell comes home 24th out here tonight from Richmond Raceway.
19 races down and 4 races to go. Pocono, Texas, Michigan, Charlotte. Quite the challenge for these drivers. The Scrambler Series is well underway, and next week we get rid of 2 more. And another storyline that we'll be following is the win streak that we are seeing right now out of Cody Gibson. 3 in a row. Could he dare cross over into some rare air with 4 next week at Pocono?
Don't think it's out of the question here, but we're going to find out together on the Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network. If you enjoyed tonight's show, make sure you like the stream, subscribe to our network, get notified every single time we go live. Arie and I will be here bringing you the action and the calls all the way through championship night. From Arie, Heinzman, and myself here on the Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network, thank you as always for spending a Tuesday night with us, and we will see you next week from the Tricky Triangle.